Imagine this. You're 14 years old, standing at the edge of a river that cuts the world in two. Behind you lies Austria, the empire of your mother, the formidable Empress Maria Theresa. Before you lies France, the most glittering, dangerous court in Europe. Between the two banks rises a pavilion built of wood and velvet, a stage for your transformation. They strip you there. Every stitch of Austrian silk is torn away, even the pearl necklace your mother gave you. No trinket of your childhood is permitted. You must be remade, French from hair to heel, body to soul. The air smells of cut pine and fresh paint, but beneath it you catch another scent: fear. When you step out on the far side, you are no longer Archduchess Maria Antonia. You are Marie Antoinette, Dauphine of France. A bride, a currency, a hostage, the marriage that wasn't love. You are brought to Versailles, a palace that smells of wax and powder, of unwashed bodies hidden beneath rivers of perfume. Gold leaf blinds the eye, but the corridors are choked with whispers. Every smile hides a calculation. Every bow conceals a dagger. Your husband is Louis Auguste, 15 years old, awkward, heavy-set, with downcast eyes that never quite meet yours. He stammers when he speaks, blushes when you smile, fumbles when he touches your hand. And yet this boy is heir to the French throne, the Dauphin, and your fate is bound to his. The marriage is a spectacle. Bells ring across Paris, cannons fire, peasants cheer in the streets, though few have bread in their bellies. They do not cheer for you. They cheer for the treaty you embody, the fragile peace between France and Austria. The night of the curtain. The true theater begins not in the cathedral, but in the bedchamber. The king himself escorts you and Louis to the bed, blessing the union. Courtiers crowd in, laughing, whispering, watching. You're seated on the bed as though on a throne, the silk sheets cool against your skin. Louis sits beside you, hands trembling. He does not know what to do. You do not either. You have been told vague things by your governess, hints and warnings wrapped in euphemism, but the reality remains hidden in shadows. The courtiers linger. They will not leave until they are satisfied. To them, this moment is not private. It is the future of France. They need heirs, proof of consummation, a chain of bodies linking throne to cradle. But nothing happens. Louis retreats awkwardly, muttering excuses. The courtiers disperse, murmuring. The door shuts, but their whispers seep through the cracks like smoke. That night, your marriage is left unfinished. The silent humiliation. Days turn to weeks, weeks into months. Still no consummation. Still no heir. The palace begins to laugh. The Dauphin is mocked for impotence, you for frigidity. Pamphlets circulate in Paris, obscene caricatures of your bedchamber failures. They call you Ella Trickian, the Austrian bitch. You lie awake at night, staring at gilded ceilings that glimmer like cages. Louis snores beside you, a boy drowning in expectation, terrified of his own body. You clutch the sheets, the silence heavier than stone, knowing that every dawn brings more whispers, more shame. Your body, meant to be the vessel of dynastic survival, has become a symbol of failure. You are a queen in waiting with an empty womb, a foreign bride mocked by a nation that will never forgive you. The shadow of your mother. Letters arrive from Vienna, written in your mother's stern, elegant hand. Maria Theresa does not waste words. She urges, she commands, fulfill your duty. Produce heirs. Win his heart, his bed, his loyalty. You feel the chain tighten. Your body is not yours. It belongs to France, to Austria, to treaties sealed in blood. You are 14, but you're already a battlefield. Closing echo. So begins your story, Marie Antoinette. Not with laughter, not with love, but with a silence more damning than screams. A silence that will grow into scandal into rage, into revolution. For now, you're only a girl beneath too much silk, staring at the ceiling of Versailles, wondering why the bed beside you feels more like a prison than a sanctuary. Imagine this. You awake to the creak of gilded doors opening onto your chamber, the heavy air of Versailles, thick with perfume, candle smoke, and the faint reek of bodies massed beneath powder. The morning light filters weakly through embroidered curtains. You try to lift your head, but you cannot move freely, not because of chains, but because of ritual. For you're Dauphine of France now, and every gesture of your day is not yours. It belongs to the gaze of others, the theater of a body. You are barely 15, and yet your body has become the stage upon which the kingdom performs its obsession with hierarchy. To dress you is not a private act, but a ceremony. Courtiers crowd the room, jostling for the honor of fastening your stays, of handing you stockings, of clasping pearls at your throat. One morning, your shift slips from your shoulders, and you feel the cold air against bare skin. But there is no modesty in Versailles. Laughter ripples, whispered comments about your youth, your breasts not yet fully formed, your foreign pallor. You bite the inside of your cheek until you taste blood, but you smile because a Dauphine does not show shame. Every mouthful of food, every lock of hair, every sigh you breathe is recorded, cataloged, whispered in salons. You are a young girl in a gilded cage, your innocence fed to the hungry eyes of a court that devours weakness. The empty bed, and then there is the bed. Always the bed, night after night. You lie beneath heavy curtains embroidered with fleurs de lis, staring at the ceiling painted with gods and cherubs mocking your plight. Louis beside you fumbles, hesitates, turns away. He is timid, confused, fearful of his own flesh. You wait. You whisper encouragements. You touch his hand, but he pulls back. Days pass, months, years, and still the union remains unfinished. The silence of your bedchamber becomes the loudest scandal in France. Pamphlets circulate in Paris, their pages stained with obscenity. They mock you both, the Dauphin as a eunuch, you as a cold Austrian. You're painted in caricatures as a barren foreigner, a witch whose womb rejects the future of France. The courtiers smirk behind their fans. The word impotence hangs in the air like smoke, impossible to escape. Letters from Vienna. Your mother's letters arrive like knives. Maria Theresa's handwriting is sharp, her commands unmistakable. Your duty is to produce heirs. What's the problem? Do not fail me. Do not fail Austria. You read them by candlelight, tears burning your eyes. You want to scream that it is not you, that Louis cannot, that you are trying. But the ink blurs, and you fold the letters carefully, hiding them beneath your pillows as though they are daggers pointed at your heart. Your body has become a battlefield between France and Austria, between Versailles and Vienna, between your mother's iron will and your husband's paralyzing timidity. The whispers of Versailles. Versailles is not a palace. It is a labyrinth of mirrors, every reflection distorted. Behind painted fans and powdered wigs, your name curdles into venom. She spends too much on gowns, they say. She dances too freely. She laughs too loudly. She is not French. She is Austrian. You hear the nickname for the first time, L'Autrichian. At first, you think it means Austrian woman, but soon you realize the cruelty. Chien bitch, Austrian bitch. The word spreads through corridors into salons across Paris. You walk the halls and feel the eyes prick your skin like needles. Every smile hides malice. Every bow conceals contempt. The girl and the mask. And yet, you fight back in the only way you know, with laughter, with excess, with beauty. You host balls. You ride horses at dawn. You order gowns of impossible extravagance. feathers tall enough to scrape the ceilings of salons. You create a mask of radiance, of joy. But the mask is fragile. Beneath it, you are still a girl lying awake at night, clutching cold sheets, wondering why the marriage bed has become your coffin. Closing echo. This is Versailles, a palace of mirrors where you see yourself distorted until you cannot tell where the mask ends and the girl begins. You came to France as a bride, a child meant to symbolize peace. But the courtiers do not see peace. They see failure. They see a foreign body that refuses to yield the air they demand. And so the whispers grow louder. The mask grows heavier. And somewhere in the silence of your bedchamber, the revolution is already stirring. Imagine this. You're 18 years old. 4 years have passed since you were carried across that river, stripped of your Austrian silks, and reborn as Dauphine of France. For years of whispers, of obscene pamphlets, of laughter muffled behind painted fans. For years of humiliation. And tonight, for the first time, the silence in your marriage bed finally breaks. The years of waiting. For years, Versailles had turned its gaze toward your bedchamber like vultures circling carrion. The courtiers feasted on gossip. That Louis was impotent, that you were frigid, that Austria had sent France a barren witch. Every morning you awoke to the same questions disguised as polite inquiries. Any news, madam? Every evening you went to bed with dread, wondering whether the failure would repeat again. Your mother's letters grew sharper, her disappointment a whip across your heart. You must do your duty. You must secure the alliance. Why do you not succeed where others do? But it was not you. It was Louis. Timid, awkward, plagued by physical difficulty, perhaps phimosis, perhaps simply terror of intimacy. He could not. He would not. And you are the one blamed. The intervention. At last, your brother arrives. Joseph II of Austria, traveling incognito to Versailles. He is older, shrewder, and far less patient. After a few days of watching, of speaking with physicians, of observing the strange boy you call husband, Joseph delivers his verdict. Louis is not impotent. He is simply afraid. His anatomy is normal, but his hesitation is crippling. The cure is simple, brutal instruction. Joseph counsels his brother-in-law, like one might advise a nervous apprentice, bluntly explaining what neither you nor Louis had dared to say aloud. The intervention is humiliating but effective. The night. It happens at last in 1777. The room is heavy with summer air, the curtains drawn tight. You lie on sheets embroidered with fleurs de lis, staring at the gilded canopy above. Louis beside you trembles, his breath shallow, his face flushed with both fear and determination. You reach for his hand. For once, he does not pull away. He whispers nothing, only sets his jaw, and the act begins. It is not passion. It is not romance. It is a transaction, an ordeal, a duty. You grit your teeth, your body stiff, your heart thundering. When it is over, Louis sighs with relief, almost pride, and turns away. You lie still, staring at the ceiling, the silence broken only by the muffled shouts of guards beyond the chamber doors. They know. Everyone knows. The Dauphin has at last completed his task. The kingdom exhales. Versailles rejoices. The news spreads like wildfire. Courtiers whisper it, servants shout it, pamphleteers print it. For the first time in years, you are not mocked. You are celebrated. At last, they murmur. The marriage is real. The alliance is secure. An heir will come. Paris erupts in crude jokes and crude celebrations. In salons, your name is spoken with curiosity rather than contempt. You feel, for a moment, as though a great chain has fallen from your shoulders. And yet, something inside you feels hollow. For what they celebrate is not love, but consummation. Not you, but your womb. You are no longer a child, no longer a bride. You are a vessel, a chalice into which the future of France must be poured. The weight of expectation. Now every glance is sharper, every whisper heavier. When will the air come? When will the belly swell? You walk through Versailles and feel eyes lingering on your figure, measuring your waist, your step, your appetite. Physicians hover, priests pray, your mother writes urgent letters. The entire weight of the French crown rests inside your body. You smile at banquets, you laugh at balls, you dance beneath crystal chandeliers, but inside, you feel like a hunted animal. The consummation did not free you. It only tightened the leash. Closing echo. That night in 1777 silenced the pamphlets, soothed the whispers, gave Versailles its proof, but did not give you peace. For though the silence of your bedchamber had been broken, the silence of your own heart remained. You lay in that gilded cage, knowing that your body was no longer yours, that every kiss, every touch, every pain belonged to France. And thus the little Dauphine began her true metamorphosis, from girl to woman, from pawn to queen, from prisoner of humiliation to prisoner of destiny. Imagine this. Reims Cathedral, June 11th, 1775. The incense is thick, the organ thunders, and the walls tremble with the sound of thousands of voices chanting. Gold glitters everywhere, on crowns, on altars, on the jeweled garments of bishops who move like shadows of heaven itself. At the center of this storm of light kneels your husband, Louis XVI, a boy no longer, but still shy, still hesitant, his pale face shining with sweat as the sacred oil anoints his forehead. The crown is lowered onto his head, and a great cry rises. Vive le roi! You are crowned Queen of France. A moment of triumph. For a brief moment, Versailles forgets the long years of humiliation. The marriage has been consummated, the future seems secure, and Paris gazes at you with adoration. You are no longer the foreign child mocked in pamphlets. You are La Reine. You lean into the role with the hunger of someone who has been starved. Your gowns become canvases of silk and jewels, your hair a tower of powdered extravagance that scrapes the ceilings of salons. You turn fashion into armor. When you enter a room, heads turn, whispers follow. At the opera, at the theater, at masked balls, you dazzle. Parisian ladies copy your style, tailors and jewelers bow to your whims, and poets sing your praises. You have transformed Versailles from a place of humiliation into your stage. But behind the applause lies envy, and envy in France is poison. The Queen of Style. You escape the suffocating corridors of Versailles by building your own world. The Petit Trianon, a jeweled box of a palace, gifted to you by Louis. There, you shed the weight of etiquette. You laugh freely, dance barefoot in the grass, and play shepherdess in gauzy muslin gowns while the courtiers sneer that you mock the people who truly labor. At Trianon, you're no longer a queen but a girl again, surrounded by friends, music, and the illusion of freedom. But freedom in Versailles is dangerous. Every hour you spend outside the formal court feeds the gossip that you are frivolous, selfish, unfit. Your image becomes legend. Marie Antoinette, the Queen of Style, the Queen of Pleasure, the Queen of Masks. The birth of rumors. The silence of your bed, once mocked, is now replaced by suspicion of excess. If you're not barren, then surely you are 2-1. Pamphlets circulate again, filled with lurid stories. The queen in bed with lovers, with ladies, with courtiers. In Paris, your name becomes a punchline, your laughter twisted into ridicule. And yet the people still watch you. They cheer when you appear in the opera box. They sigh at your beauty. They clap at your gowns. You are adored, yes, but it is the adoration of a crowd that loves as easily as it hates, a tide that can turn without warning. You sense it sometimes late at night when the palace grows quiet. The cheers of Vive la Reine ring in your ears, but beneath them, you hear another echo, darker, like a drumbeat from the future. A la lantern. The first cracks. Louis, now king, grows heavier, more withdrawn. He tinkers with locks and hunting rifles while ministers whisper of debt, famine, and unrest. You beg him to act, to reform, to be decisive. But he hesitates, always hesitates. And so you fill the void with spectacle. If Louis is indecisive, then you will shine for him. If the people must look at something, let them look at you. But each new gown, each new diamond, each new feathered headdress grows heavier, until you feel as though you are wearing a mask that cannot be removed. You smile, but the smile aches. You laugh, but the laughter feels hollow. Closing echo. You have triumphed, Marie Antoinette. You have turned scorn into admiration, humiliation into spectacle, silence into applause. But the mask you have built is fragile, and masks can shatter. For though you dazzle Paris, the hunger in the streets grows. Though you reign as queen of style, the treasury groans under the weight of jewels and gowns. And though the people cheer now, their eyes already carry the shadow of hatred. The crown is on your head, yes, but it is already burning. Imagine this. Versailles, December 1778. The palace corridors are suffocating with heat despite the winter cold outside. Fires burning in every hearth, candles blazing in every chandelier. The air stinks of sweat, perfume, and anticipation. Courtiers crowd the hallways, pressing against one another, waiting to hear the cry that will echo through France. Inside the chamber, you are screaming. The theater of birth. There is no privacy for a queen. Childbirth, like marriage, is a public act, a political duty. Dozens of eyes bore into you as you writhe on the bed, blood soaking the sheets, your body stretched to its breaking point. Ministers, bishops, noble ladies, guards, an entire nation crammed into a single chamber to watch the Dauphin perform the most intimate of acts. Your face is pale, your hair plastered to your skin. You cry out for relief, but there is none. You feel the tearing, the fire, the unbearable weight. And then at last a sound, the shrill, piercing cry of a newborn. A girl, Marie-Therese Charlotte. The room erupts in cheers, yet you see it in their eyes, disappointment. She is not a boy. She is not an heir. She is only a daughter. You clutch the child to your breast, weeping not from joy but from exhaustion, from pain, from the knowledge that your triumph is already shadowed by whispers of failure. A mother at last. Still, for a time, you are adored. Paris celebrates, bells toll, pamphlets declare your health, your fecundity, your promise. You are a mother, and motherhood softens your image. You hold the infant Marie-Therese in your arms and feel, perhaps for the first time in years, something that belongs only to you. Not to France, not to Austria, not to Versailles, but to you. You whisper lullabies in broken French, stroke her tiny hands, kiss her forehead. In those moments, you forget the cage, the whispers, the chains. You are not a queen, but a mother, and it feels like salvation. But the whispers return. Salvation never lasts in Versailles. The gossip begins again, sharper than before. If the child is not a boy, then surely the queen has failed. If she is fertile, then why only daughters? If she has daughters, then surely her womb is cursed. Some pamphlets spread darker rumors still, that the child is not Louis's, but the product of a lover. They name courtiers, friends, even foreign princes. They paint obscene pictures, circulate lies that burn through Paris like wildfire. The people who once cheered your beauty now sneer at your excess. They call you Madam Deficit, blaming you for the debt of the realm. They whisper that you feast while they starve, that you play shepherdess while their children beg for bread. The child in your arms is not enough to silence them. Nothing will ever be enough. The breaking of the mask. You retreat more and more to Petit Trianon, to gardens where you walk with your daughter among roses and marble statues, pretending for a moment that you are free. But freedom is an illusion. Every laugh, every gown, every pearl becomes another weapon in the mouths of your enemies. You build a mask of silk and powder to survive Versailles, but now the mask has become your prison. Behind it, you suffocate. Louis grows heavier, more indecisive. Ministers bicker, debts mount, the people grow restless. Outside Versailles, famine spreads, and in Paris, the word queen becomes synonymous with hunger, with arrogance, with betrayal. And though you clutch your daughter close, whispering promises of protection, you feel it in the pit of your stomach. The tide has already turned. Closing echo. The birth of Marie Therese was meant to save you. It was meant to silence the pamphlets, to anchor the crown, to redeem the years of humiliation. Instead, it marked the beginning of the end. For though you gave France a child, France gave you only hatred in return. The revolution is still a decade away, but the echo is already in the air, in the markets where bread grows scarce, in the pamphlets that drip venom, in the laughter that greets your name. You're no longer the little Dauphine. You are the Queen of France, but you are also the queen of scapegoats, the queen of masks, the queen destined for the scaffold. And when the blade falls, years from now, in a square filled with jeering voices, it will not fall on a queen of flesh and blood. It will fall on the mask they made of you. Ella Trickian, Madame Deficit, the foreign queen who never belonged. Backhand index pointing right, and that is why this story, though buried in the past, will haunt you long after you've finished listening. If you want more tales of history's hidden truths, click like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments where you're listening from.